But we're very happy that Ken Toll was able to make it over here from the United Way of Jackson County. We're going to talk about a special program that you or someone close to you might want to avail themselves of. Talking about the CARE program that they offer with Consumers Energy. Ken, good morning. It's nice to have you with us today.
Good morning, Tim. It's great to be here. Thanks.
What, your assessment of the roads on the way over?
Drive slowly. They're actually worse to the east. They got a little bit better around Marshall, but you got to be careful today. Give yourself some extra time.
Wow. So was there more snow to the east, or was it just slipperier?
I think it was just slipperier. It was still snowing harder in Jackson, but I think you may have more accumulation here than we've seen overnight.
United Way of Jackson, you're the CEO. I would take it you're right in the middle of a campaign right now trying to raise money.
Yeah, we're about 3/4 of the way there in Jackson, and United Ways all over the state are really, really working hard this year. This is our busy season. We like to have a lot of money in the door before Thanksgiving, but we go until the money stops, and sometimes that's Christmas or after, so we're still working hard.
What are some of the biggest challenges facing the Jackson community?
Well, Jackson is very similar to Battle Creek. You know, it's amazing how similar our populations are. The big issue we're focused on as a United Way is poverty. You know, we've looked at the data for years. We have great work happening in education and in healthcare, but in poverty, there wasn't a good structure to address that. Agencies weren't working together as well as they could. We know there's a lot of policy work that could be cleaned up that would really help people who are struggling. So our United Way has gone all in and said we are going to create new pathways out of poverty for folks who are struggling and give everyone a crack at that American dream. Everyone who's willing to work hard at it.
That's great. And that kind of ties in with what we're going to be talking about today, the CARE program. And, you know, my first thought was, well, why are we talking to Jackson County? Oh, that's right. It's a Consumers Energy thing, and Consumers Energy is based in Jackson.
Consumers Energy has been a huge friend to everyone in need in Michigan, and especially United Way. We have a special relationship with them as our Fortune 500 company in Jackson. They've imbibed the United Way culture for years. It's baked into their DNA there. It's all about giving and supporting community. So they came to us a while ago and said, would you help us with the applications to the CARE program? We knew that every year they got a lot of money to help folks who are struggling with utility bills. And they said, what if we paid you to actually enroll folks? You could make some money at it and use that money to provide financial stability and pump it into other programming. And we wouldn't have to pay another outside contractor. We could actually work with a trusted nonprofit. So it was a real win-win for us to get into this business last year.
We'll talk a little bit more about what the CARE program is when we come back in just a moment. Ken Toll is with us from the United Way, Jackson County. Tell us all about it. Home heating assistance, our topic today on WBCK. Well, yesterday, the bill came for my gas bill, and I looked at it as $443. And I thought, you know, I think we can handle that, but my goodness, my bill's not going to be any worse than the average Joe out there who probably can't pay it. There are a lot of people. And Ken Toll is the CEO of the United Way of Jackson County. They administer a very special program from Consumers Energy. Ken, we're talking about a lot of people here in Michigan, aren't we?
Yeah. Thousands and thousands are eligible for this. Just in Jackson County alone, more than 4 in 10 households are financially unstable. So they're either struggling to pay their bill now, or they're one blown transmission, one set of new tires away from struggling to pay that bill.
When you say financially unstable, sounds to me like that's a category they've predetermined who qualifies for a program. What do you mean financially unstable?
Well, a lot of folks use the word poverty. The federal government set a poverty level a long time ago, but that's artificially low. The federal poverty level for a single person is $11,700. You really can't live anywhere in America on $11,700 and have stable housing, enough to eat, and the basic amenities. It's just not enough. So nonprofits for a long time have been using a factor of 150 or 200% of poverty. Recently, we did a study with Rutgers University and said, let's drill in and see how much does it really cost to live county by county in Michigan, and we discovered it's quite high. So there are a whole bunch of folks we're now calling ALICE, Asset Limited Income Constrained Employed, working poor who are making more than that poverty level and maybe not qualify for benefits, but aren't making enough for food, clothing, shelter, and childcare. That's a problem.
What will the CARE program do for someone who qualifies?
It will pay a big chunk of your monthly utility bill for the entire year. Plus, every time you make a payment, they take 1/12 of your past due balance off the books. So if you make your monthly payments for a year under CARE, which are greatly reduced, at the end of the program, you have a zero past due balance. So if you're behind already, it's a great way to get caught up.
And so it's sort of a graduated thing where it's a plan that goes over the whole season, and once all said and done, then hopefully you're even.
Correct. There are other options out there as well. So if you don't qualify for care, look around. There may be other things or budget plans. If you have zero income, you're actually better off talking to the Department of Human Services. So our call specialists will work with you and figure out what you're most qualified for. But if you're working or you have some income from disabilities, care is a great way to get caught up.
Okay, so that's one of the qualifications. You have to have somebody in the family working?
You have to have some kind of income coming in because you need to be able to make that payment. We don't want to set people up to fail, and you do still have to pay a portion of your bill each month. But we work with you to figure out whether this is the right program for you or not. You fill out the application, and our folks are back in touch with you very quickly to say, yes, you're in, or actually this program looks better for you. Why don't you try there?
And you can make up to 150% of the federal poverty level. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
So, okay. So, yeah, you said that was $11,000?
For a single person. Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking 16, 17,000, but then that dynamic changes if you have a family.
Correct. There's a table on the front of the application that says if you have this many members of your household, you have to be making this much or less per month. So you can do the math very easily, and give us a call if you have trouble with the math. We'll do it for you.
How long have you been doing this with Consumers Energy?
This is only United Way's second year. They've been running the CARE program for a while. They've had other programs in the past, but they just came to us last year and said, why don't you give this a try? We think it would work well, and it worked so well that this year we're doing twice as many applications. It taught us a lot about the needs out there, and our customer service folks are really able to serve the consumers folks well. We understand some of their dynamics. We can give them other suggestions as well sometimes, in addition to CARE, for ways to get back on their feet.
Now, have they set a limit on how many people or families that they'll be able to help?
We're shooting for about 4,000 from Jackson County, and then another agency up north is doing several thousand more. There's a limited pot of dollars, but it should be enough for us to do about 4,000 people from this region. And we're only halfway there, so we're inviting people to apply now because it's first come, first serve. If you qualify, we will help you.
So you probably, even if you're not that far behind, but you're already behind, you're just going to get further behind. So you should apply now.
Exactly. If you're struggling now and you have a little bit of an arrearage, it's a great time to call us because we will help. If you owe $10,000, you're not going to qualify for CARE. That's just too much. But if you have a small arrearage, a couple $1,000s or less, and you have some income and some way to pay half of your bill for the next 12 months, we'll sign you up and get you back square.
When we come back, I'll ask you to define that region, and obviously anybody who's probably hearing us is in your region. Mm-hmm. But Ken Toll is with the United Way of Jackson County. They work with Consumers Energy to administer that program, and we'll tell you more about it in just a moment. The WBCK Morning Show, Tim Collins in for Richard Piet today, and we're talking with Ken Toll from the Jackson United Way. They work with Consumers Energy on an important program. Speaking of Consumers Energy, yesterday, I guess I was shocked isn't quite the right word, but Palisades nuclear power plant's going to close in another year or two. And I remember when it went online and they took us over there as kids. Mm-hmm. On a school field trip, mm-hmm. and it was all brand new and state-of-the-art nuclear power plant. And back then, nuclear power was looked on as being the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah,
in my opinion, it still is, but a lot of environmentalists disagree, mm-hmm. and they've been wanting that plant shut down for a while. But you guys work closely with consumers over there. What are they telling you the impact's going to be of shutting down that power plant?
Honestly, I haven't talked to them specifically about that power plant, but I know those guys do their homework before they make any change. When they took all their coal plants off the line, they do a tremendous amount of research. So many engineers get together and make sure that they can keep delivering the power, and that's one thing I think they're very proud of, that other states have had rolling brownouts. There have been huge energy cost spikes, and Consumers has made a lot of wise moves over the years, so I have full confidence that they're going to continue pumping out the energy even without Palisades.
Well, they have a plan because they didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
They were able to get a long extension from the federal government to keep Palisades open, mm-hmm.
but
they'll be closing it well in advance of that time period coming up.
Yeah, energy is a real challenge for our country. I mean, any way you do it, there's some risk involved, and you pay the price now or you pay the price later, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if it's such a critical thing because of the fact that we have days like this outside and temperatures well below freezing, a lot of families get that bill in the mail, and they still have to buy medicine, and they still have to buy groceries, and they still have to buy clothes for the kids. And, what are you going to do? Well, one of the options is this program. Let's talk about what the region is, because you mentioned there are two groups distributing this or administering this program, the CARE program for Consumers Energy, and the one in our area is the Jackson United Way.
That's correct. We will serve the entire state. If you live in the UP and you happen to pick up this station and hear us talking, you can call us and we'll enroll you. But there is another provider up in the northern part of Michigan working to enroll folks up there. So we have 4,000 slots available. First come, first serve. Anybody who qualifies, anywhere they live, we will enroll you. But because we're so close to Calhoun County, we want to come over and talk to your listeners today and say, hey, we're very close. In fact, we're having an enrollment fair on Monday. If you need help, you can drive over to Jackson. There will be on-site hands to help you enroll. Otherwise, give us a call, hit our website, and we will get you the application. So
it can be done via website and mail?
Correct. You have to fill out the application, send in some proof of income and identification. It's all spelled out in the application. You mail it in. We call you or text you right away and say it's in process. And then usually within a couple of days, we tell you whether you're enrolled or whether you didn't qualify. It's very quick.
And Ken, tell us again what the benefits are for people who qualify for the CARE program.
Sure. I mean, you started the interview talking about your own heating bill, and one of the things that's really, if you think about it, makes a lot of sense is folks in poverty tend to live in substandard housing. So your heating bill is high, but theirs is probably twice as high. They have leaky windows, an old roof, and it's very costly. So it's very easy to get behind in your payments. Consumers will pay the back due balance if you're enrolled in CARE. They prorate your back due balance and pay 1/12 of it every time you make a monthly payment. So if you're able to make these payments every month, which are discounted 50% or more most months, and we'll send you that schedule, by the end of the year, you'll be back current with your bill. Your past due is erased. You owe nothing, and you're back on track to be stable. And we know that's important because, as you said, a lot of folks do have other bills come up. If you have a new prescription or your rent goes up, it's real easy to put that consumer's bill in the drawer for a month or two and think, I'll catch up later. But sometimes life gets in the way and you don't get caught up. This is your chance to catch up.
And Ken, you mentioned a lot of people with lower incomes are living in houses that are not very energy efficient. Mm-hmm. Consumers will help with that too.
Yeah, that's the third benefit of CARE I haven't even mentioned. They will do an energy audit. They'll bring in things like LED light bulbs, and they'll check for heat leaks and suggest local contractors that can fix it up. Sometimes they can even do a lot of work themselves on your home. So it's a free assessment. They will come in, figure out how you can save more money on that bill, and help you take those steps so your bill goes down.
And we will post some links on our website to point people in the direction. We'll also post this interview, and people can get more information. Or maybe you're listening and you're thinking, well, I'm not going to qualify for this, but my cousin is really struggling right now, or the neighbors down the street probably don't know about this because they're listening to some other radio station. So I'm going to help them out. And so we'll have that information up on our website, and we'll link it over to your website, and we'll get our people will talk to your people and have your people call my people, and we'll get it done. My goodness. Well, Ken, thanks again for coming by today and filling us in on the program. It's a great thing Consumers Energy is doing, and it's nice to know that if people feel like they have their backs to the wall, there's some help out there.
Absolutely, and if you all else fails and you want to find CARE, just dial 211. They can connect you with us. So if you have trouble linking to your website, all you have to do is dial 211.
Dial 211 and ask for the CARE program.
Ask for how do I enroll in CARE, and they will connect you with us. Absolutely.
Wow, very cool. Yeah. We'll get that on our website too. Thanks again, Ken Toll, CEO of the Jackson United Way, and that's about the CARE program on WBCK.